Well, this first question, Jim, sent on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru, a very popular topic this week. This was sent by DRL. How does Jim feel about Adam Pearce, who has been a face authority figure, facing Roman Reigns for the title at Royal Rumble?
To be honest, when I heard about what was going on, because, I've worked with Adam in Ring of Honor and I've managed him and I think a lot of him. So when I heard about that, I said, I gotta see this. And I had you send me their YouTube clips because I didn't see the show because it was on SmackDown and we don't do that. But I've got to admit, and I'll say that there were 3 clips, the way that they summarized the incident. The first clip was the in-ring promo where Roman Reigns was really intimidating Adam, and the second one was backstage where Sonya Deville's in there somehow as Adam's second in command, and I see problems in that relationship. She's going to try to take the place over. And then the third one was the end of the Gauntlet match where he wins the opportunity. So this was their clips and their editing. And the first clip made me actually both of the first two made me want to actually have seen more of SmackDown, because now I know why so many people for so long were trying to get Vince to switch Roman Reigns heel. He's fucking fabulous. His fucking facials, the way he delivers the line, the fucking promos. Of course, he's got, Heyman there, which is like having, what was the guy who used to host the fucking actor inside the actor's studio? James Lipton is in his ear, right? Yeah, but
the only problem I will say, let me just jump in real quick. I agree. I watched that clip. Roman Reigns was fantastic, but the fake crowd noise.
Yeah, that was. I wasn't holding it against the performers because they have no control over that. But the fake crowd noise just shits all over it. It really does. Because this sounded credible and like something that could be a conversation that could be taking place. Like, it's because Heyman's involved. I can't imagine what this was like before Heyman got a hold of it. Because we'll talk about the logic of this whole thing in a second, but we're just going on performance now. But I can't imagine what this was like before Heyman got a hold of it in terms of logic and the match finish layout. Because if this is the best he could do out of it there, then it must have been really fucked up to begin with. However, back to performance. Reigns means what he says. He delivers it well. He looks like $1 million. He's got the facials. He sounds like he's got a voice, a grown adult voice. Adam did a great job. Adam was an unheralded promo in his day, but he didn't have to do much here. It's not like they're jousting back and forth. He's being the fucking guy that's backing down because this beast is in his face. And with the second clip, Heyman is so smarmy. Paul, he drips and oozes sarcasm and slime, the way he phrases things and his voice. And you can tell he's through and through. He looks like a guy that would fuck you around. And even the line, I know you may think I'm lying to you. And Adam, yes, I do. The performances there were fantastic. And like I said, I see why people, especially, I'm thinking that probably the people that several years ago during the whole WrestleMania debacle with, Roman Reigns and the people turning on him, that the Vince's older, more established agents, advisors, whoever they may be, were probably had to be saying, Vince, turn this guy heel and let him go. I would think they had to have been, and he didn't want to, because we heard rumblings of everybody saying how to switch him heel. But wow, what we could have had. I would watch if Roman Reigns had been, I may have to start watching or maybe just taping SmackDown and just watching Reigns and Heyman. I don't know. But anyway, that was a breath of fresh air. Having said that, am I to understand by the clip of the finish of the match that this gauntlet match went an hour, ended up with Shinsuke Nakamura in there, and then Roman Reigns and Jey Uso just right in front of the referee just beat up Shinsuke, then throw Adam Pearce in and knock him out and put him on top of Shinsuke Nakamura, and the referee counts 3, and that's how Adam Pearce won the match. Is that an apt description of what went on?
That's certainly an apt description of the end of the match. I wasn't sure exactly how long it went on because I didn't watch anything.
Well, the announcers in the clip were saying after an hour.
I tune them out. I can't pay attention to their commentators.
Okay, and I'm assuming that this finish was done this way because it was a no disqualification match. Is that correct?
Again, I don't know.
Well, that's probably their cover story because that's what they do every other. Well, somebody should do something, but it's no disqualification when the guy's driven his pickup truck in from the parking lot and runs the guy over and then backs up and runs over him again. But it's no DQ. Instead of no disqualification, they ought to say this match will be contested under lazy fucking booking rules. Because that didn't get any heat. That got go away heat. That got disgusting heat. That got the kind of heat that used to kill territories. If anybody took this at all seriously anymore, it would. It's just the reason why that nobody's watching the WWE anymore compared to what they used to be, and the viewers are dropping because it just turns people off. Because it's stupid. Because it's disgusting heat, as they used to call it in the business. It's not good heat on heels. The referee's standing there. The visual doesn't make sense. There was a rule of thumb that I heard when I first got into business. Even in a no DQ match, the heel should cheat behind the referee's back as much as possible. Because even though, yes, it is no disqualification, the visual, the subliminal message that you send to people in the arena or the TV viewer, it's skewed. If you're cheating in front of the referee, if the heel's not getting heat, as much heat, and the babyface is not getting as much sympathy, if it's happening in front of an authority figure, it's human nature. He went behind his back, or the referee didn't see it, whatever the case. Secondly, to have it at this level where they're just beating the guy up on and then beat the other guy up and then put him on top, where was anybody else in the company? Adam Pearce is a representative of the show. How did Heyman even, I know and they did do an edit, but he tried to explain it, that Roman Reigns has his pull or whatever, but no, you can't force an executive of the company, the authority figure on the television, into a wrestling match, whether he used to be a wrestler or not, that he doesn't want to be involved in, and the company is going to sanction something involving one of their employees, office employees, at the behest of the top heel. If the heel is telling the company what to do, then that's fucking backwards ass logic. And they've gone down the rabbit hole so far here of you can just say shit in wrestling and make it so, that they've gotten so fucking, I can't say they're lazy bookers because they don't have bookers. Well, Michael Hayes is still around there, and Road Dogg might remember what that was like, but the rest of them have never been involved in the wrestling business. They're a bunch of fucking college-educated comedy writers. So they don't give a shit. But I don't know. I haven't been watching the program, but I would assume that they have probably not made a large deal out of Adam Pearce's wrestling background. I would think that would be a correct statement. They may have mentioned that he's a wrestler, but I don't think they've done any video packages, right? Shown any footage, any still pictures of him with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt, anything like that.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, in fact, when Paul Heyman started saying, Scrap Daddy, Adam Pearce, I was like, oh, that's the first time I've ever heard in these clips we've seen any reference to him as a wrestler.
Yeah, because they were trying to give the people a fucking history lesson in a minute and a half backstage pre-tape.
And he never wrestled there.
Which is the reason why, if you were going to go in this direction, you could actually have done this where it stood a chance of, I can't say drawing money anymore because it's the networks. They don't sell tickets, whatever the fuck, but draw interest if you'd have just planned ahead and made it in some way not insult people's intelligence that it could happen, because all these people involved in performing this stuff did a great job. So imagine if you gave them something that they could actually believe and that everybody else could too. Roman Reigns is a top heel, and I assume this is not the first time that maybe it is, because he's just come over from Raw, right? And Paul was introducing himself to Adam Pearce like that they weren't old buddies. But the point being, have the top heel and his smarmy manager grate on the nerves of be a pebble in the shoe of, cause constant consternation to, and fuck up the plans of the authority figure. What is his exact title?
I'm not sure.
You know what everything that happened in Mid-South Wrestling in 1982, but you don't remember the guy's title from whatever his fucking title is.
That stuff was neatly explained on TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Adam Pearce, the authority figure, you fuck with him because you're the top heel and the top manager. But at the same time, don't make him the fucking slink-off guy. Have him have some balls. Adam can cut a promo, and Adam is a former wrestler. And when it comes time for the confrontation that you saw, because they just did a fucking 8-week build to a program from Seg 1 to Seg 6 to Seg 11. But if you'd done it right and you did it over 8 weeks, they've been a problem. They've done some other things. He's tried to warn them. They skirt around the fucking issues. They're getting a little bit more pissed at Adam himself. And finally, when you have the big confrontation, that's the point where he should physically back down and say, I'm not trying to cause trouble, and I do respect you, but I've got a job to do also. They had him back down and beg off, and then didn't have him get some spine back and say, but I've got a job to do, and I'm an executive with this company, which is what any real executive with the company would have said. So anyway, you have him nettled for several weeks or whatever. Then you have the confrontation where Reigns tells him off and where he backs up, but I've got a job to do. And then then you have the heel say, well, we'll just see how well you do your job. And then you create, instead of just having a company executive signed in a match or just throw it out there, you create some situation, whether it's an angle or a match or whatever. There's two ways to get a baby face like Adam. He doesn't have to be the superhero, but he's got to be a baby face in terms of an honorable person who's, for once with this evil empire, he's got the right idea in mind. You either embarrass him as a man or you hold someone else's well-being over him to get him to agree to do what you want him to do. It doesn't just willy-nilly magically appear. Or the heel can't call the shots over an executive of the company, but if he's been insulted as a man, such as something like what they did with Jey Uso, where as a man, he was not going to back down to Roman Reigns until finally just beat the piss out of him and he's okay, enough. But at first he was firing up. Or you hold someone else's fucking well-being. You create a situation of chaos where some poor schlub is going to have his career ended and the other, members of the Samoan tribe are playing King of the Hill, and Heyman saying, Pearce, if you don't agree to face this man one-on-one, then his death is going to be on your head or whatever, something. You don't have a guy reluctant, involved, win a match he's not even involved in because he refused to be in it, so you knock him out and put him on top of the other guy you knocked out. That's just lazy fucking booking. And now they can get something because Adam can go and he can work. So they can get something out of Roman Reigns, not for 45 minutes like they did with Jey Uso that time, but out of Roman Reigns having a physical confrontation, a fight with Adam Pearce, because out of whatever they do, Adam will be good enough to carry his part of it. But they could have had so much more interest and it been so much more like for an adult audience. I'm not talking about X-rated. I'm talking about anybody over 12 that has critical thinking. It could have been more plausible that all this would take place. But it just from Seg 1 to Seg 6 to Seg 11. Yeah, and then boom. Referee count it. Okay, now you're challenging for the title. Blah.
Adam took that super kick great.
Oh, yeah, what a drop. And with the fucking right arm stiff up in the... He looked like a fucking deer that got hit and knocked stiff in the highway. Performance was wonderful on everybody's part. If they only had people that were booking instead of writing. And also it's not an atmosphere where anybody's going to... This is good compared to what they've been doing because it's sports entertainment all the way now. Now that they've gotten those pesky fans in the arena out of the way where they can manipulate all the responses. But Roman Reigns, I see now, he could have been a fucking star heel in any territory. You'd have believed, and his work is fucking great. He looks like $1 million. Those promos, the way he speaks, fuck, he could have been a superstar in any territory. Now I see why everybody's been so high on him. Except for the fans who want to see some 190-pound flying monkeys. Because that's what we're down to at this point. Go ahead.
We don't know where they're going with this. We don't know if by the time we get to Royal Rumble, it'll be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, if they'll do something to get Adam out of the match. But are we watching the Royal Rumble this year?
I tell you what, if he does wrestle Adam, we'll watch it. If he wrestles Owens, I don't know. We may have to flip a coin.
All right.
Why would you do all this and then not have the match? They don't have to sell tickets anyway.
It's WWE. They do stupid shit every day.
I think at this point, and they've had one, they haven't had the other. I think Roman Reigns against Adam Pearce would sell more tickets, quote unquote, than Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens.
But what do you do? If it is Adam Pearce, who hasn't been in the ring for years now at this point, he's never been in the ring in WWE, so the fans have no history with him. Do you have him go in there and have a competitive match against Roman Reigns?
No. You decide who Roman Reigns' WrestleMania opponent is going to be if they haven't done that yet. Now would probably be a real good time. And then Roman Reigns defends the title against Adam Pearce. Roman Reigns starts out playing with him, trying to demoralize him, much as they did with Jey Uso. You give Adam a nice flurry where he acquits himself like a man, and then he gets shut down, and then he gets, as Ernie Ladd used to say, waltz him across Texas. Make him sell like he's going to the electric chair. Give him his comeback to the dressing room. Beat him, and then continue pummeling the dead horse until the WrestleMania opponent shows up and have a big fucking pull apart. A big fucking angle, and let the WrestleMania opponent get some kind of something on Roman Reigns and or Heyman. Has he taken a bump in the last 10 years? Has he been off his feet?
Has he taken a bump in the last 20 years?
I don't know, but, anyway, you have your WrestleMania opponent get something on Roman Reigns going off the air, or Heyman, or both at the Rumble, and then you got 8 weeks from there to build it on television. But no, it's not competitive, but there can be a story to it, and you can help further the thing along. I assume that's not the match they're expecting to sell the Royal Rumble to begin with. So be creative.
I will say I'm probably going to have to get you some more clips because several people have sent them in, and I haven't sent them to you, but they're really good. There's a show called Talking Smack, which is kind of like a panel discussion about SmackDown, the world of SmackDown. But Heyman's on there with various wrestlers, and he's I mean, it's no surprise to you. He's great.
Oh, yeah.
He's fantastic. He's really good. And it's just
I'll watch those.
It's such a departure from Paulie Dangerously. Just always screaming and yelling. He's so calculated now. It's a real amazing evolution.
He did settle down a bit because that was my thing with Paul, and I know everybody's, well, Cornette, you were always up in the air. I was loud and a big mouth, but sometimes I was talking fast, I was happy. Sometimes I was talking fast, I was scared. Sometimes I was talking fast, I was angry. Paul was always in a homicidal rage when he was Paulie. And he was gripping the phone and his veins were popping out. And I was like, fuck, calm the fuck down. Be loud, but do other emotions. But he's Alfred fucking Hitchcock as a slimy lawyer. It's fucking great. But verbally, he's always been brilliant one way or the other.
Yeah, but this actually may be his best stuff. This era of Paul. Jim, let's get another question here. This was sent in on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru.
I just thought one thing. When you said the era of Paul, I just remember the Seinfeld episode about the summer of George.